And welcome to another edition of the Wake Up Late with Dougie show. I'm your host, Dougie Almeida, coming to you live from Danger Studios in Coral Springs, Florida. I'm joined today by my two guests, Mr. Ahmed Ahmed and Grant Lyon. How you doing, fellas?
Yo.
What's up? Hey, man. Thanks for having me.
Part of the fun,
me too.
Part of the fun of doing the show is getting comics together. We all know each other. We've worked together. Grant, I think you and I worked at the old Carolina Comedy Club.
Yes, we did, indeed.
Back in the day. And, of course, Ahmed, we've been doing some shows together. The last show I think we did together was the famous show where they called 911 on you.
That is right.
Oh, that's so funny because the last time I worked with you, Ahmed, was right after that had happened, and you were telling that story on stage for like the first time. That's amazing.
Oh, yeah, that's right, because it happened in, I think it happened... Yeah, because maybe it was 2019 is when I saw you last. But yeah, it happened in May 2019, Mother's Day, in fact.
All right.
Yeah, Dougie was there. We were sitting in the back of the club, just getting ready to start the show, and then the manager walked up and said, "Hey, there's two cops outside that want to talk to you." And I was like, "Oh, what the?" I started you start tracing back, did I insult somebody, or am I getting me too'd, or do I owe tax? You just start thinking what are the chances? And then what do they want? And then when I went outside and they said somebody called us over a joke you told, I thought this is going in the act.
Yeah, that was.
How could it not?
It was just such a weird thing. I just remember because when the cops came and I was inside at the table and then they were out there and I saw the cops come up and I thought, because you hung out that day at the beach and shit. I said, oh, maybe Ahmed met some cops at the beach and everything, and they're coming to the show and everything. Next thing you know, he comes in.
That's probably something I would do is invite the cops to a show.
Yeah, and then next thing you know, he comes in. He goes, hey, come out. I was going to be his representative. I was using my Matlock skills to figure out what the fuck was going on. But it was nuts, man. The weirdest thing about that was because it happened and it was such a weird thing. Why would somebody be that ridiculous? I remember you were still in shock that it happened. And all I kept thinking on the drive home, we were driving back to Miami that night, was, this is gold. This is going to be great.
I remember we were in the car, and because I had talked, before the show, they came to interview me. And then I was so kind of shooken up by it. I recorded them. And then I went on stage and I talked about it on stage, and people laughed what happened because nobody in the club saw what was going on outside. But I was, on the way home, I was talking to Dougie and I said, I feel like I should post a video of them. You dropped me off at the hotel I was staying at, the Comedy Inn, just right outside of Miami. I remember I was kind of up pacing around. I wasn't so much bothered. I was more fascinated that they showed up and who called, and I was just really kind of looking over my shoulder, But right before midnight, before I went to bed, I posted the video on Twitter of the cops, interviewing me, and I said, I wrote something I can't remember. It was something to the effect of this happened to me tonight. In the 25 years I've been performing stand-up comedy, no one's ever called 911 on me. Any thoughts? Send. Went to bed, woke up at 8 a.m. Shit went viral.
Yeah. It was nuts. It was nuts.
And then pretty fun when you're I just got to sleep and it did its work for me.
Yeah, I just kind of dropped all the goods in the pot and let it boil. And then I got a direct message from this journalist at the New York Post who said, can I have your number? I want to call you and interview you. And we want to be the first news outlet to cover this. I said, sure. Called her up, I think that morning, talked to her for about an hour. And I believe it was the next day. It was in the New York Post. And then boom, it just caught fire. Everybody was
nuts.
Calling me. TMZ, CNN, BBC News, all the Florida radio stations and news outlets. And we did a follow-up show, and it was crazy.
That was great. The follow-up show, we just introduced them. And now the call heard around the world. If nobody's heard it, if you haven't heard it yet, you can Google it and listen to the actual 911 call, which is
Well, it's animated as well.
Yeah.
My
yeah.
friend Tom Winkler, who used to be an animator for The Simpsons, made a cartoon out of the actual call, and it's
awesome.
the cartoon's it's simple and it's brilliant. But yeah, it's the actual call, and it's funny, if you listen to it very carefully. And the guy gives himself up in the call. I was there with my wife. We get free tickets. We go there all the time. And so we just kind of did it. Captain Brian, the owner, and we sat in his office and looked at the computer and said, who was there that night who got, free tickets with their wife? And it was this one guy. And then I friended him on Facebook.
Did he ever message you or anything on Facebook?
Yeah, he replied. He's like, "Do we know each other?" I'm like, "You're goddamn right, we know each other."
Well, you think you know me, buddy, but you may not be completely correct. You ever have anything like that odd happen to you there, Grant?
I mean, I feel like that's the joke about Florida is crazy stuff happens. I've never had anything odd happen to me at that club, but at a different club, Gregory's in Florida, I was there. It was a real perfect storm because I was there. It was the week of spring break and it was St. Patrick's Day weekend. So just people were so drunk before they even came to the show. And this happened during the feature set. So, this is 30 minutes into the show where you're like, this isn't even at the end, where the feature had been, this one lady was just yelling all the time, and the feature had tried everything, right? You've seen people where it's like, they've asked you to be quiet, they've made fun of you, they've berated you, and none of it's working. And finally, he just gets mad, and he's like, shut up, bitch. Just loses it. And the lady's husband or boyfriend or whatever stands up and is like, you better apologize. And he's like, I'm not going to apologize. You're being a jerk and you're ruining the show for everybody. And then the guy comes up onto stage and he's like, I'll make you apologize. And this guy was pretty big. And I'm somebody that doesn't back away from a fight. So I was like, oh, this is fun. And I ran from the back of the room and jumped up on the stage. Mind you, I haven't been on stage yet, so nobody knows who I am or anything like that.
That bouncer isn't that big. Where's this guy coming from?
Yeah. And then the owner there is he's a real small guy. And so then he's up on stage and we're trying to hold this guy off. And then the woman's like, yeah, kick his ass. And the lady that had just been sitting in the crowd next to the drunk woman just grabs her by the neck and puts her head down between her legs. Literally just puts her head down and then leads her out of the club, bent over, just clutching this lady's neck, and just leads her out of the club. And the guy sees it and he's like, hey, and then follows her out. So crisis averted. And the lady comes back in, and we're like, wait, what are you doing? She was like, I'm an off-duty cop. I just use a cop hold on that lady. But it was just great. She was just like, and then just let her right out.
That's great.
It's crazy how people, to this day, you would think that people understood, comedy environment or comedy club culture and environments. And to this day, you still have those people that want to help out or they want to throw in their 2 cents. And I was at a comedy show recently, and this couple was talking, and I said, hey, you guys need to, just contain your conversation. She's like, the girl goes, oh, we were just commenting on what the comic said, the last thing, what he said. I'm like, that's fine. You can comment to yourself or write it down on a fucking notepad and talk about it when the show's done. Yeah. Don't let all the people around you hear your fucking point of view. It's just so annoying. I mean, like I said, you'd think people, I always tell people, if you go to a show, it's like watching a play. Do you talk during a play? No, you don't. Yeah. You sit down, you watch the fucking play.
Yeah.
But you'd think after, I've been in the game 25 years. I was just going to say, I've been in the game 25 years, and to this day, you think people just understood comedy club.
Yeah, etiquette, at least.
Etiquette, yeah. Sorry, you were saying?
I just think it's also funny that, right, you've seen, how many times have we seen where somebody says something, react to it, and they go, oh, you can hear me? It's like, yes,
Yeah.
of course I can hear you.
Yeah.
You're 15 feet away from me, and I'm the only person talking. So if there's somebody else talking, I'm going to hear it. I don't get how people are so surprised by that.
We also have to remember that when people are drinking, they're talking a little bit louder than their normal octave. So
we had a comic on actually spoke about this, and his theory was, when you watch any TV show or any movie where they have a stand-up comic, there's always a heckler. So it's almost like some people that aren't really comedy, club goers, they think that's what it's like. I had that happen in Myrtle Beach this weekend. This one guy just wouldn't shut up. Like he was like, it was like trying to tell comedy next to somebody who keeps playing the tuba. It was just like this interruption and just loudness. And like you said, there's a bunch of stuff I tried to do ahead of time. I even gave him the line, "Look, buddy, if your face isn't on the poster, no one came to hear you." And and it just, but they finally had to kick him out. Which there's a lot of clubs that just don't do that. They're just too scared or nervous to actually send somebody to the street.
I remember I was at. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say. I remember. No, go ahead. This is why I hate Zoom. You just never know.
Great.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I'm not going. Now you're going. I'm not talking.
You go. I'll wait.
I'm not doing it.
Nope. Yep. Now we're in the standoff here. Go.
This is like a polite standoff. No, after you.
We're talking about hecklers now. No one's going to talk.
No, I was going to say I was at a show in Albany, New York, at what's that club? Funny Bone, and I had replaced Pete Davidson. He canceled last minute, and so they called me up. And they're like, "Pete Davidson canceled. Can you replace him?" I said, "Sure." So I went out there to perform in front of like a couple hundred Pete Davidson fans. Like they bought tickets for him and the whole thing. So I had to kind of go up and set the precedence. Like, hey, Pete Davidson canceled. I'm here to replace him. About halfway through the show, I said that. So I already got them on my side. They were laughing. And then I said something to the effect of sorry you guys missed out on seeing him, but you know what? Fuck Pete Davidson. And they were like, yeah. But one woman, liberal hippie woman, yelled out, "We came to see him, not you." And I said, "Well, you can get a refund or you can leave, whatever you want to do." And then she continued to heckle me for a minute. And I don't know if you've been to this club, but the security staff, they're 6'9", 300-pound, ex-pro basketball players, big giants, And they walked over to the woman to kick her out. And I was like, no, she's cool. Let her stay. And she's like, "That's right. I bought my ticket. I'm going to get my money's worth." And she was talking shit after I was trying to be nice to her. And then security was kind of standing there looking at me like, what should I do? And after she was rude the second time after I was trying to be nice to her, I go, "Fuck it. She's gone." And the crowd went nuts. And they're like, "Miss, you got to go." And she stood up and she goes like this, "You're not funny. Fuck you." And I just did the whole fucking na 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 na. Everybody, hey! I got 300 people telling this bitch to get out of the room. That's kind of a great feeling when you can walk a heckler like that. Yeah, she got escorted out.
Especially when the crowd's behind you, right? Isn't that the secret?
That's the best.
Grant, that's the secret. To get people on your side. Otherwise, it can get ugly.
The audience isn't on your side. It'll get ugly.
Yeah. And I don't understand why more clubs don't kick out people like you're saying, Dougie, some clubs are afraid to kick, but if you don't, then it ruins the show for everybody. I had one time I was at a club in Michigan and these people wouldn't be quiet. No matter what you did, to the point and I was doing well with the rest of the audience, and the other people in the audience started heckling the one table for me because I was trying to say stuff to him. No joke. I was trying to say stuff to him. I was getting laughs saying stuff to him, but then they just kept interrupting. At one point, the dude was talking to his girlfriend full volume, and I was like, "Hey, man, shut up." And he just gives me the middle finger and doesn't look at me and continues talking to his girlfriend right there. And everybody else is like getting super mad. The show ends and one other table comes up and bumps the dude. And then the dude pushes him. And no joke, tables flip, bottles smash, like wild fist fight middle of the club.
Jeez.
Cops get called, people arrested and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, well, if you would have kicked out that one person, this all could have been avoided.
Some people, some clubs are a little too scared to lay down the law, which is a shame.
When I worked at the Comedy Store for many years, and the Comedy Store in LA, they didn't have security. They had door guys that were up and coming comics. That
Still
was it.
do, pretty much.
Well, no, they actually have security. Well, when they were open, they actually got proper security. But for the 16 years I was there, never security. And so whenever somebody would get out of line, the comics had to act like security. Like we would come to the rescue. And, some of us are tall and a little bigger than the door guys. So door guys would walk over and say, hey, table number 3, loudmouth, what should we do? And I'd go, we'd have to call each other up, 6, 7 comics. It was normally like Brett Ernst, Mike Young, myself, maybe like Steve Renazizi, like some of the rougher, rough edge kind of comics who didn't give a fuck. Sam Tripoli.
Brad Williams,
no. But
he should send him over there. That would be great. Yeah, it's nuts when that happens. Hey, speaking of getting heckled, I don't know if you guys watched the Super Bowl this weekend, but there's some a lot of talk and chatter about how bad the weekend was.
I thought he was great, first of all, and second of all, if you're watching the Super Bowl and here's the thing, and I think somebody posted it on social media today, and it was a perfect post. There's never not been a Super Bowl where they didn't have a pop artist or some sort of like, J-Lo, Justin Timberlake, Janet Jackson, the list goes of Britney Spears. They always get whoever is sort of hot at the time and they're the act. Or, maybe their agent got them the deal or whatever, but the guy's just singing his songs. It doesn't matter what's going on in the background. But I think that people are just looking for a reason to complain. It's a football game. The halftime show is just an added incentive. Sit down. That's what I say.
Well, I mean, I'm a huge Prince fan, so when I look at what that halftime show versus the Prince halftime show, they're not even close. I mean, but that's entertainment, right? Everything's a bit relative. But there was rock bands, like I posted, I'd like to see a rock band, I mean, they've had The Who on there, they've had the Rolling Stones, you know what I mean? They've had,
I will say, I think that performance did solidify for me that the weekend is pandemic Bruno Mars. He's like the poor man's version of Bruno Mars, where it's like Mars is just effortlessly entertaining. The weekend, boy, he sure tries.
Well, now they can just call him Last Weekend.
Yeah. Past weekend, yeah.
My friend's wife. I went to my friend's house to watch the Super Bowl. My friend's wife, super awesome gal. She's like in her mid-30s, and during the halftime show, we were all watching, and she goes, "I'm sorry, but I have no idea who this artist is," and she's technically like a millennial, and I was like,
"It is." Yeah.
Go ahead.
I agree. Like, my mom wouldn't know who that is. It felt like a real step down for the Super Bowl.
Well, but I'm saying that unless you're in a certain age pocket or demographic, you probably wouldn't know who he is, by his face. But if you hear his songs, I mean, they play his stuff on the radio all the time. So I don't know. I mean, I think it was a mixed choice, but again, are you there to watch the fucking game or the halftime show? I know the halftime show is the big.
Yeah, the halftime show is almost like the commercials on the Super Bowl. You don't go watch the Super Bowl for the commercials, but you kind of do nowadays. Yeah, that's like
right.
That's the secondary type of entertainment. Watching some of those commercials. Yeah, like you said, the weekend. I recognized the voice. Right, this is a year ago. Whenever when the song came out, I'm like, I heard that song. And then when I saw the guy, I was like, oh. But then he supposedly had a lot of work on his face. He came out with the award show with all those Band-Aids, and that's why everybody was supposedly wearing the jock straps. That was a funny meme. The coach from the Kansas City Chiefs comes out, and he goes, anybody see all our jock straps? If you did watch the Super Bowl, you also noticed that there was a streaker that entered the field. Right. I have to ask you guys, have you ever streaked? Have you ever ran naked through the streets? Grant?
I did a poor man streaking when I was at camp when I was like 17 years old. We stripped down just to like boxers and pulled it and showed our asses and ran around showing our asses when we were like 17. So it's a real cop out streaking, you know?
Yeah. Well, you're a soccer player.
To be fair, it was to be fair, it was a Christian camp. So we were pretty hardcore.
Well, you're a soccer player. Soccer players would do that kind of stuff. I think we hazed the guy one time in high school. We took all his. We were on a away trip, and we got all his clothes and stuff. And he had to get to the bus to get back to our school, but he was naked, so he had to walk from the dressing room. He had to run from the locker room back to the bus naked. And we say anybody who helps him out, gives him a towel or a shirt, you're next. And but that's you would never streak, Ahmed, right?
No, that's not my style. You know, I have worse things that I do, but streaking's not one of them.
Yeah. Well, from what I understand, is the guy is a pretty genius. Him and his friend, they actually put a side bet in to one of these betting companies that there would be a streaker. You know, they always have those odd bets. So they placed a big bet that there would be a streaker, and they supposedly won about $370,000.
Wow. Well, you know what? I changed my mind. I'm going to start fucking streaking.
Yeah. And you probably still have that guy.
Hopefully it's enough to hopefully it's enough money to pay that dude's legal fees.
Yeah.
I know, right? I wonder what the repercussions are for that.
Indeed. Well, he didn't really show himself. He did, it wasn't like he was completely nude where
wasn't he wearing like a G-string or like a Borat kind of like onesie or some shit? Yeah.
Yeah, like a leotard type thing. But I think if you can see indecent exposure charges, and that's just kind of like a trespassing charge or whatever. Yeah. But if you did it, if you actually streaked, wouldn't it be funny if the guy from Naples called? There's this Muslim guy who's running naked through my streets. His name's Ahmed. You know what that means? That was the funniest. His name's Ahmed. You know what that means? What a fucking douche.
My college campus, I went to UC Santa Cruz, and one of the main traditions on campus is during the first rain of the year, everybody gets naked and runs around campus. So, we deserve our hippie moniker. Yeah.
Heck yeah, man. And not only that, and then the second rain, everybody goes out in the woods and shits in the woods. It's a pretty good thing. Not to get political, but another little story that hit the news in the last week or so was, you're all familiar with David Hogg? David Hogg was the young man who was one of the survivors of the shooting in Parkland back on a couple of years ago here, right in my hometown. He's become a political advocate and stuff like that for gun rights and stuff. And he seems to have a problem with the MyPillow guy. And he's decided that he's going to create his own MyPillow company to compete with the MyPillow guy. Have you ever hated somebody so much that you wanted to try to knock them out of business?
Well, first of all, why does this guy want to knock him out of business? What's the beef?
He doesn't like the MyPillow guy, because he's a conservative guy, and he's been really loud about the supposedly the voting and everything. He's been doing a lot of shit like that. He got the MyPillow guy got banned from Twitter and everything because he's been supportive of the election fraud. But and that's the thing that's weird with me. I mean, this has nothing to do with gun control. You know what I mean? First of all, as a financial advisor and stuff, anybody who wants to start a company out of spite, that's usually not a good reason. You know what I mean? I'm gonna open a lingerie store because my ex-wife had a lingerie store, and I hate that bitch. So I'm just gonna open my own lingerie store.
Also,
or you could be like, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, if you watch Curb Your Enthusiasm, the whole last season of Curb Your Enthusiasm was about Larry opening up a spite store.
That's
and,
right.
Like,
that's funny.
I remember watching it and being like, this is hilarious. Nobody would ever do it. And then now I'm like, wow, somebody's doing it. I love it.
That's like dating a Victoria's Secret model who dumps you, and then you want to open a lingerie shop next to a Victoria's Secret store.
Now, how do you ever have that? It's funny you should bring that up. I had a friend that just talked to me about that. He's divorced now, and his wife was beautiful. He makes a lot of money and stuff. He's an attorney, but now they were married for like 15 years. And you ever have like a beautiful girl or girlfriend? Then you were really nervous about not coming back and following up with a better act.
Grant. What do you mean? I don't understand your question.
In other words, did you ever like date so far out of your league that the next girl you dated was like, oh shit, this is not the same?
Oh yeah. Well, it depends what league you're talking about. You're talking about, educational. You're talking about spiritual. You're talking about looks. If you're just talking about looks, yes, I've been there. I've dated a girl, a couple that were really good looking, but nothing going on the inside, and then I've dated girls that on paper, what the public might perceive, might not be as good looking as the hot chick, but rockin' personality, super fun to hang with. And, you just kind of see past it sometimes.
Yeah, that would help.
Look at me. I'm not the fucking best catch on the planet, so I'm not complaining.
I think he's being harsh. I think he's
kind of just take what I can get these days.
Ahmed's a handsome. I think Ahmed's a handsome fellow, don't you, Grant? I mean, look at this guy. He's a handsome. He's an actor.
Very much so.
Oh, God.
He's tall.
You should be my agent.
Yeah.
He's tall and everything, But yeah, I just think it's funny that here's a guy who has all these political aspirations, and he's worried about the guy who makes pillows, which is weird. Another big trend we're seeing are these celebrity fights. Did you see the fight with the guy from YouTube who fought the basketball player?
Yeah.
Logan Paul?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who did he fight? I didn't see that.
He fought a guy who used to play for the Brooklyn Nets. I'm trying to remember who it was. Black guy. And
he fought Nate Robinson.
And Nate was a big dude that looks, looked like he was. And the other guy from YouTube's a pretty built guy. I'm an ex-fighter. I'm 10-0. And I never let anybody's looks, perceive like this thing. But I think it's funny now. The next fights you got Lamar Odom. Basketball player, married to Khloe. He was married to Khloe Kardashian.
Who's he fighting?
He's going to fight Aaron Carter.
Yeah.
How is that going to? Isn't Aaron Carter like 5'5" and Lamar's like 6'10"?
Yep, 6'10". Got my money on Lamar.
He's got the reach. He's got the reach.
On reach alone.
I like Lamar's just going to come in and just go bink.
Now listen, in all fairness, I am 10-0 in the Muay Thai ring. I'm 5'9". I was 215 when I fought, and 7 of the people I fought were over 6'4". But at least in kickboxing, you can kick the leg, so that kind of helps with the lack of height.
Yeah, I mean, boxing is all about reach,
So size does not matter with you, Dougie.
Not at all. I'm a dangerous man, as my old trainer used to say. But you think about it, especially in boxing, you got to be able to hit. The best size difference we've ever seen in anything was when Bruce Lee and Abdul-Jabbar in The Game of Death in that movie. You ever see that fight scene where Bruce Lee's 5'5", 5'4", something like that, and Jabbar is like what, 7? Was he 7'3"? 7'3". And you watch that, and Bruce Lee kicked his ass. I mean, it was a movie, but and it was Bruce Lee, mind you. Yeah, one of the best.
I do think it's funny that they got they're billing this like as the 2 former cocaine people fighting. They were like, "Well, Lamar had a real cocaine problem. We got to find another person with a cocaine problem to fight him."
Yeah. In between rounds, you see them, instead of drinking water, they're like,
Learning
up the.
No, their prize is an 8-ball.
Energy.
The top prize is $10,000 and an 8-ball. And by the way, Jose Canseco is also going to be fighting from Barstool Sports, Billy Football, who's one of the interns at Barstool Sports. Now, I almost got into a fight with Canseco at a strip club in Miami some years ago. But he's like a Taekwondo guy. He actually fought in one of these celebrity boxing matches at one time. And he's claiming he's going to beat the shit out of this guy, which I don't know anything about the other guy.
Hold on. Go back to the strip club story. What happened?
I mean,
you just kind of just danced over that.
Yeah, well, we've had a couple incidents back in those days. Just one of those things where I knew the girl, and we were waiting for her to come down, and we're all going to go to South Beach. We're trying to get her to leave early so we can all go to South Beach and stuff. And she was he kept coming up and stuff. And I walked up and I was standing. I wasn't like, hey, I was just standing there. And he looked over at me and he looked back and looked over at me. He's like, you waiting for this fucking guy? And I go, what? I acted like him because he's got those nervous tics. He's like, so I started looking at him and going, hey, Canseco. and he looked at me and I said, dude, he's like a black belt in Taekwondo. And I said, dude, you're a first dan. I'm a third dan. I'll kick your ass. He knew what I was saying, but a couple times. We got into a fight with some of the Miami Heat at a place called Gold Rush. And my buddy Rick, who's from Sweden, punched Alonzo Mourning in the stomach. Yeah, it was in the VIP room. It was a bit ugly.
Why? What happened?
My buddy Rick, he would party a lot, and this one stripper girl who happened to be an African American girl, beautiful girl and stuff. She kept, and he said something, get away from me, like he didn't use the N word, but I couldn't remember what he said. And then Alonzo Mourning came, put his hand on his arm, like from around the corner, from around the other side of the couch, put his hand on him, and he didn't know who he was. He get the fucking turn around, he punched the guy, and hell broke loose, and we all got kicked out. Same guy at Nikki Beach in South Beach on a Sunday. We're at Nikki Beach, party in the tents and stuff, and we're all hanging out. And Puff Daddy, when he called himself Puff Daddy, was there. And in between the tents and stuff, there's like the big tables of food and all this kind of stuff. And we're sitting there like looking at the food, and he was there. He was there right across. And my buddy Rick goes, "Hey," he looks at the rolls. He goes, "These rolls aren't very Puff Daddy." The guy got pissed, and another almost fight broke out. But that's what happens when you hang around bad dudes. My buddy Rick's not allowed. My buddy Rick's not allowed in the country anymore.
I like your buddy Rick was just like, is there a famous guy that I can fight? That's his whole MO.
Yeah, when he picks a fight,
let's go somewhere where we can meet a famous person I can fight. Huh? What are we doing tonight? Is there going to be a famous person I can fight?
You would like him, dude. He was a soccer player. He actually played on the Strikers when they came back, and he's an All-American at my college from Sweden. But yeah, so which gets me to my one of my last topics. Is there a double standard with famous people, folks? I mean, you guys have some fame and stuff. Do you think there's a double standard the way famous people are treated versus others?
It depends on the situation.
Nancy Pelosi basically wanted everybody to go through metal detectors in Congress and the Senate, but then she went through it, and then she's not going to pay the fine. Just little things like that. Do you think that's why a lot of Americans get pissed, when shit happens?
It depends on, I think it really depends on the political party that you sign up for. And I also think that, yes, there is a double standard. Look, a lot of people get into show business so they can, adhere to those sort of privileges and get those privileges, Yeah. Do you want to go right through security? Do you want to ride the private jet, fly the private jet? Do you want to get, it just really depends on also like, what can you afford? Can you afford a double standard? If you could afford it, fuck it. Why not? You work for it.
Well, that was what's kind of good about the college scam. And all those people got arrested trying to get their kids into college. So that's a different thing, I think, because now you're bringing children and like young like teens into it, and it's an educational infrastructure. I think it's a different conversation, I think. But I think, should celebrities get special treatment when it comes to the law? No. But should celebrities be able to like pass through airport security? Sure. Yeah. Why not? I wouldn't
If I
have
was a celebrity, I don't want to be standing in line with a bunch, with all the general admission.
a bunch of peasants.
People asking, the people asking for the autographs and shit like that, and pictures. Like nobody. I've been around it. I've witnessed it, and it's sometimes when you're the celebrity, and like I said, I've been around a couple friends that are pretty well known. You can see the nervousness in their eyes. You can see they just want to get out of there. They don't like it's a very sort of claustrophobic feeling. There is a beauty of being anonymous and being able to be a comic and an actor, but still be kind of anonymous. Like make enough money to where you can live like a celeb, but you don't get really treated like one by choice.
Yeah.
And some actors and celebrities and comics and musicians, they do that. They live under the radar. They don't really engage it.
I wouldn't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with some celebrity getting pushed to the front of the line and stuff. I would expect it. It's almost like as a comic that's a working comic, when you go to a local open mic and you don't have to be on the list, they just kind of put you up when they want, It's funny,
Sure.
It's funny when other younger comics will get mad, like, that's bullshit. Why is that guy going up? And like, well, it's
like there's this little Italian restaurant that I go to like probably twice a week right down the street from my house. And so I've been going there a lot. So I know the owner, I know the staff. Every time I go in there, it's royal treatment because I'm just a good customer. I'm a returning customer. I tip really well. And so I'm not a celebrity by any means, but I do get a little bit of extra special treatment when I walk in. Or they'll be talking to somebody and they'll be like, "Excuse me, hey, Ahmed, welcome back." And I'm just like, "That's right, motherfucker, Venice Cucina, bitch." Venice Italian Cucina, bitch.
You talking about Italian food? What's your favorite dish there?
Man, they have this banging margarita pizza, and I asked them to put sautéed garlic and spinach on it. And they do it. What they do is they saute the spinach and the garlic, then they cook the pizza halfway. They pull it out, then they throw the spinach and garlic on there, then put it back in to kind of just sizzle it off. Mamma mia, very good.
The place called? I gotta try it.
It's called Venice Cucina.
What's
it's
the
right
place
there?
called?
It's called Venice Cucina.
Did you catch that?
I think he froze.
Yeah,
Did you hear that?
Venice Cucina.
It's on Windward Circle,
Yeah,
right in the heart of Venice Beach.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's especially restaurants. Nothing better than when you come into a restaurant. I remember when I first started dating my now wife, when we were hanging out in South Beach, she'd get really pissed when I'd leave big tips. You first of all, when you're in South Beach, you're waiting for a line. All these people are in there. So let's say the tab's $40. I'll give them $60. Thanks. What my wife's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Don't worry about it." And then of course, next time you want a drink, all these people standing around the bar, and you're like, "Hey man," they're like, "Hey, what do you want, dude?" You know what I mean? That kind of privilege. You know what I mean? That takes money, fame, but it's nice to be treated special. Let's face it. We're in America.
Yeah,
that's what we're here for.
Agreed.
We're here to be treated special. Speaking of the America, big talk about Space Force.
Yeah, I don't mind.
You don't mind? Oh, I think we got him. You're tied.
I was gonna say I don't mind. Whatever. Move on.
We got to get him some more gigs so he can get a better internet. But anyway, the topic of discussion is Space Force, our newest division of the military, Space Force, and our new spokesperson for the president kind of diminished it a little bit. Do you guys think we need a Space Force? Do you guys know what Space Force is?
Sure, why not? Technology and the American culture coming together. I mean, we look when Elon Musk launched a rocket into space, during the pandemic, during George Floyd riots and looting, during all this political upheaval, he launched a rocket, I think on a Tuesday at 3:00 or something like that. And I thought, why not? Let's have some hope here. But
wasn't that
I think I think going in a yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that was the coolest thing in the world when those rockets come back down and land. If you ever saw those were amazing. I mean, that guy, that's the person we want here. You know what I mean? But Space Force. People like, I had a friend that said, "Oh, it's ridiculous." I'm like, you know how many satellites we have? You know how many? We can disrupt. The old days during World War II it was the being domination in the skies. If you had a great Air Force, you can dominate. Well, now you're out in space. Now you basically got all these satellites and everything. You need this technology out in space to nullify. And the Chinese have it. The Chinese have it. I don't know if you ever saw that little miniature. Looks like a miniature space shuttle. It's a spy plane for the United States. Looks like a miniature space shuttle. It's like a space plane. It's up there for 2 or 3 years straight. You never know what the hell's going on. Why not a Space Force, right? Hey, Grant, if you were in the Space Force, what would your title be?
Officer of dopeness.
Yeah.
I'm leading us to the final frontier, baby. I will say, I think we do need Space Force because, right, we look at the stars, however, we do not need that.
Yeah, I think we got a bad connection with Grant at the moment. We're going to have to figure that out. He's frozen too. I don't know. Chris, we may have figured it out, or we're going to do. We got to get him connected. All right, so here's what we're going to do, fellas. It's that time where it's time for the news as a joke. That's right. It's time for news as a joke with Dougie Almeida. Thank you. You all right, Grant? You look better now.
Yeah, man. I got 3 roommates, and if they're all on the internet right now, it makes it. I'm sorry.
They're hogging up the bandwidth.
Yeah, they are. For sure.
Those bastards. Our first story of the day. A woman uses Gorilla Glue in her hair, leaving it permanently stuck in a viral TikTok. Yeah, I don't know if you saw that. Young woman decided to use Gorilla Glue in her hair. Feel bad for her?
I'm going to go ahead and say that's on her. I don't think you should put anything with the name glue in your hair. That doesn't. Do you remember there were when I was a kid, there were like punk teenagers that would like take Elmer's glue and make like mohawk. That also didn't look good. So glue, not a great idea for hair.
Yeah, especially Gorilla Glue. You know what I mean? Like, out of all the things you're going to use. But she did. Gorilla Glue, put it in your hair. Did you ever get super glue stuck in your fingers? You ever do anything stupid like that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
That's happened to me, several times, I think. I think everybody's gone through that phase. And then you know what not to do next time.
Yeah, I don't ever use super glue. That's how I learned. I never get that shit. I will never use super glue ever again because in college that happened. I got my finger stuck like this, That's a story. Here's a second story. 77-year-old fights off attacking deer inside her home with a mop. Let's hear it for Grandma, everybody. 77-year-old
Good for her.
Putting away groceries in her home when she came face to face with a deer. She followed the woman into the house. Not, no, she didn't freak out. She just grabbed a broom and beat the shit out of the deer. You ever had a confrontation with an animal, Grant?
It is a problem. It's a problem when the deer become too domesticated. We had, at my college, we had deer that were just like got too used to students. And I had a biology professor who was like, "I'm scared of the deer. The deer need to be scared." And no joke, multiple times on campus, I saw this professor just running at deer, yelling, just like look like a crazy person, just like ah. And you'd be like, wow, that's like my professor with 3 PhDs just running and yelling at deer.
So intelligence has its means. You know, you ever notice that there's some people that are so bright, but when it comes to some of the basic things, they're not into it. You ever had a confrontation with an animal, Ahmed?
I can't recall. No, I don't think I ever had. I think animals are just afraid of me. They smell the Muslim on me.
Yeah, don't be careful. He blow us up. This is an interesting story. New Zealand cactus smuggler strapped plants to her body. Boy, if you're ever going to put stuff around your body, cactuses. Biosecurity officials in New Zealand. Good.
My favorite part about that story is that was the second time she was caught smuggling cactus at the same airport, where she was like, "This idea is gold, baby. I gotta keep going for it. This is the only way I'm gonna get rich."
This is the second best idea. I used to try to smuggle porcupines, but I moved the cactuses. Yeah, I guess you can't. You know, you can't be moving like plants and shit, like produce and stuff from countries to countries. Officials in New Zealand said the woman
especially island countries.
Yeah, the woman got caught attempting to smuggle more than 1,000 succulents and endangered cacti into the country, and was sentenced to 100 hours of community service. Oddly enough,
where was she flying to?
I like
New Zealand, by the way.
Auckland.
I'm sorry, she was flying
into New Zealand.
From New Zealand? Oh, from where? From the U.S.?
China.
Yeah. She's flying from China to New Zealand.
Yeah, her name was Wengi Lee.
So I guess New Zealand they have a low stock of succulents. I don't know why she would try to smuggle.
Well, they really
I don't know, but she tried twice, so she was pretty convinced.
Yeah, and they
it was a great idea.
They recognized her because her face looked like the guy from Hellraiser. And what are you doing with all that? The ministry said that Lee returned to Auckland.
She had all these.
Go ahead. The lady.
And she had them all like strapped to her body. She must have looked like really lumpy. Like, what do you think? They were like, "Why do you look like that?" She's like, "Oh, my body's a sack of potatoes. I'm made out of a sack of potatoes." So,
I tried to knock down a beehive. And I got all swollen, bitten up. Yeah, the ministry said Auckland at the International Airport of Auckland from China back in March, when she got caught last time in 2019 with 947 plants. She was caught when she was asked to sit down, and she said, "Oh, I can't sit that down." Here's another story. Football fans to eat 20 million pounds of cheese during the Super Bowl. No, and oddly enough, there'll be another rush on toilet paper. You like cheese? Grant, you like a cheese? You a good cheese eater?
Oh, yeah. I'm a real big hard cheese. Love a good hard cheese.
Is that a type?
I also like that my favorite type. I love a good smoked Gouda. Pretty good hard cheese. Manchego. There's a lot of good ones.
Damn, I never heard of Manchego. Ahmed, you obviously you go to Italian restaurants, so you like Parmesan. Any favorite cheeses?
Yeah, I love cheese. I try. I mean, as I'm getting older, I can't digest it as much, so a little lactose intolerant. But yeah, a little cheese here and there is okay, I think.
I will
not 20 million pounds of it
in one sitting. I can't. I will always get extra cheese on my pizza.
All right. 20 million pounds. 20 million pounds at the Super Bowl. You might say that the Super Bowl was Cheese's Super Bowl. Huh? Come on, guys. Did my internet work for that one? Come on. I hope that joke got through. Come on.
Here on Zoom, you don't deal with hecklers. You just deal with technology.
Yeah.
I love cheese, man. I'm actually upset when I was away. I went to the grocery store to get cold cuts, so I didn't have to go out to lunch every day. And I got Alpine Lace Baby Swiss. which is a nice cheese for a sandwich. And I went a little overboard on the cheese, and I had it left over, and I forgot to put it in the cooler on the way home. So I hate throwing away cheese. Well, good for them. Here's a shock. Jamaica faces marijuana shortages. You can't get weed.
To California.
What's that?
Come to California.
No shortage there.
Nope.
I guess there's been a lot of rain in Jamaica, so there's no weed. At least now when you go to Jamaica, you won't have some guy stop you and go, "You want some weed, man?" Now they're not going to bother.
Give me 3 months.
Yeah, I'll get you some weed in 3 months. Wait till April. It's cultural embarrassment, they said. Bob Marley's turning in his grave. When is that's like in Mexico. You go to Mexico, everybody has cocaine. You go to Mexico, the taxi driver, everybody, the guy behind the counter at the hotel, everybody wants to sell you cocaine. Don't ever buy weed in Mexico. Somebody will show up with a shrub bush. Last time I bought weed in Mexico, some guy says, "I'll get your weed for like $50." He showed up with a newspaper, and it looked like he just hedged his trees. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? Is weed? Any rate, 20 here. Next story. 20-year-old man fatally shot in YouTube prank in a robbery gone wrong. These guys, these people that are trying to get notoriety and fame through these crazy pranks and TikTok and YouTube. The easy route. Don't you think these folks are going for the easy route as opposed to really developing a talent, or do you like these people that get a billion hits because they do something stupid?
No, they're awful.
Yeah.
And it's ruining stand-up comedy. It's ruining what true art is. And look, it's all subjective. People like what you like. You can't really force your opinions and liking to certain things. But I feel like it's either going to run its course or it's just going to get more popular. And I feel like it's getting more popular because TikTok took it to another level.
Are you guys on TikTok?
So, I'm on it, but I don't use it. I use TikTok to there's like some great food recipes, like videos of people that here's how you make, flambe, whatever, or a souffle, or here's how you make crushed potatoes. And in 60 seconds, with speed photography and video, they show you how to do it. And so it's educational in that sense. But the dances and the, all that stuff I can do without.
Wait, Ahmed, do that again. I want to make you go viral. Yeah.
I'm going crazy.
Killing it. Boy.
You just got 1 million hits, dude. I got a friend. I got a friend that's on there, and every day there's 4 or 5 videos of just fucking videos of shit like that. I'm like, I got on it, and I put some comedy in there, a little here and there. But like you said, I don't know. I think it's going crazy. But here's a 20-year-old guy. They get shot because they.
Yes,
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I appreciate this news story because I want to shoot everybody that calls themselves an influencer.
Yeah. I know, right? That's an interesting title, isn't it? I'm an influencer. Uh-huh. Well, what do you influence people to do? Timothy Wilkes, 20, and a friend were carrying butcher knives when they allegedly approached a group of people outside an urban air trampoline and a venture park as part of a stunt. Nashville department said when the officers arrived at the scene, the 23-year-old admitted to shooting Wilkes. Starnes reportedly told police was not aware that it was a fake robbery. If somebody comes up to me with a knife and they're acting like they're going to rob me and I carry a gun, it's day over for that guy. But funny enough, he may get he may get 1 million hits when they guy hits the ground.
Well, I mean, why would you not assume nobody's first reaction in that scenario is to be like, wait, where's the camera? It's so dumb.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. People are going a little too far. Like those people that they want to take those outrageous photos of them hanging. Those are crazy when you see those people hanging from the skyscrapers and Youngport. They're like, just take the photo. Oops, really? I mean, that's nuts, man. When you watch these people just for fame and fortune trying to get some of this shit going, it's amazing to me. This happened in your neck. Do you guys see that the people that changed the Hollywood sign?
Holly Boob.
Yeah. I've been in a restaurant, and there's usually a sign that says, "Please wait to be seated." You know, I've took a little piece of black tape and go, "Please wait to be eated." You know, waitress will eat you. You know, and then seat you. I mean, that's that's less work than going out and changing the sign to Holly Boob. You know. Were you impressed? Did you think that was funny? I mean, Holly Boob. Not impressed.
Nope.
I mean, I was on board. I'm also a 13-year-old boy, so I thought it was funny.
Yay! It's funny when stuff like that can work out. You know what I mean? You can change the signage, but who knows? Another bad story. Man dies from shrapnel at a gender reveal party. There was it last year they had one of the major wildfires started because some assholes in their gender reveal party started a brush fire in Arizona. But a man died after he was struck by shrapnel and an exploding novelty cannon during a bride baby shower in Michigan. First of all, if you're going to have a gender reveal party and the explosion has shrapnel inside of it, I think you may just want to buy some blue or pink balloons instead.
Yeah, what happened to confetti?
How many people need to get hurt for you to realize nobody cares about your baby?
Yeah, I mean, oddly enough, the homeowner had purchased the cannon in an auction prior to the event and had fired the cannon several times prior. At least he gave it a test run. The cannon is designed to create a big flash, loud noise, create smoke, and kill somebody standing to the right of it. And our last story of the day, this is a Florida attorney disbarred for making porn film in jail. Who's going to know? How are we going to get caught? But again, it's these attorneys. The guy he said he was going to consult with somebody. Next thing you know, he's shooting, what's that, the bang bus? Yeah, like the bang bus, like everybody gets in the bus. I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad for any attorney that gets caught doing anything. If there's a profession I have no sympathy for, it's attorneys. You guys agree?
I mean, you kind of need attorneys, but
I think Ahmed's thinking about all his friends who are attorneys right now.
Yeah, I'm like, I have a lot of friends that are lawyers, so let me just pause on that for a second.
Because they can come back at you pretty bad. You know what I mean? When you piss off an attorney,
oh yeah,
they don't just get back at you right away by opening a new pillow company. They actually will, they'll wait like 20 years. They'll really try to get back at you one way or the other.
My favorite part of that story, the lawyer was like 58 years old. And so I like to imagine he's like, man, I'm going to retire pretty soon. But you know what? Instead of retiring, let me get disbarred in the most epic way possible and force my retirement.
It's stupid. Like, it takes so long to get a law degree, right? You got to go through 3 years of college, and then you got to 3 years of law school. It's not easy. The first year is brutal. You got to go through law school. And then to be disbarred, that's it. You're done. You know what I mean? It's like losing your medical license. People lose their medical license. It's like, holy shit. Was it worth it? I've had great sex in my day, but it's never been enough. It's never been great enough sex to be disbarred or lose my profession. You know what I mean? With that said, let me ask you guys this. We're all men here. What is the craziest thing you did, let's say for a woman, or like the most outrageous thing you did to land it that night? You know what I mean?
Craziest thing.
Like the craziest thing we've ever done?
Well, I know, like I had a friend of mine recently just tell me that he drove from Fort Lauderdale to Tampa to give a girl a ride home from the airport that he met online. And she thought you live in Florida. Can you come get me at the airport? And she was so hot. And of course, the worst part was when she landed, she was with her boyfriend. And so this guy,
How does that work?
he drove 5 hours to pick her up, thinking he was going to pick her up, maybe go back and hang out with her, go to dinner and shit. He bought her a gift and everything. And then when he was sitting there waiting for her to come, she's coming and she had a guy with her. He's thinking, oh, maybe that's a guy she met on the plane. And then they started holding hands. And the guy was like, oh, I just drove 5 hours to give these guys a ride home to their hotel.
Is that what he did? He gave them both a ride?
Yeah.
And what was the boyfriend like? Who are you? Are you our chauffeur? Like, what did he question it?
Yeah, well, what he said, he just assumed, the boyfriend just assumed was a friend. Oh, we knew all each other online. And then when he asked, he goes, where do you live? The boyfriend asked him, he goes, where do you live? He goes, I live in Fort Lauderdale. And he's like, oh, you happen to just be here? And he's like, yeah, I was just in town seeing somebody. You know what I mean? Yeah, I remember the embarrassing moments when you're trying to.
Yeah, he was like, "How do I make this?"
Yeah, you make yourself not look as stupid.
He was like, "How do I make this seem less sad?"
Yeah, I had to visit my grandmother here in Tampa. I mean, embarrassing stuff like who hasn't waited outside a strip club because some girl she says, "Come wait for me after after when I get off," and you've been sitting out there and everybody leaves. And you're like, "Shit, I think she left." You know, I mean, but then there's stupid things like you ever flown somewhere to be with somebody or broke up with somebody because you thought somebody liked you? Grant?
I'll tell you. Here's mine. When I was, I didn't have any girlfriends or start hooking up with girls until like later in high school. So early high school, I had like no experience with girls at all. And the end of my freshman year of high school, at a house party, I made out with a girl. And then it was like the end of the school year. So then like you don't see people sometimes during the summer and stuff like that. And I was so inexperienced. So I was like, oh, I made out with that girl. She's my girlfriend. Like that's what being a girlfriend is. And we didn't like talk all summer. We didn't hang out once all summer. And still in my mind, I was like, I got a girlfriend. We made out once. And then when we came back to school in the fall, she was like, do you want to go to prom with me? And I was like, yeah, well, obviously I'm going to prom with you. You're my girlfriend. And she was like, what? And that was like it dawned on me that I was like, oh, that's not how girlfriends work. Like, I didn't get it until then. And I would remember being so embarrassed about being like, oh, yeah, right? Oh, yeah, okay. I'm sorry.
Wait a minute. You're my girlfriend. We made out back in June. Yeah, that's not.
Yeah, 3 months ago.
Yeah, Ahmed doesn't. Again, Ahmed being the handsome actor and the charming fellow, I don't think he had to worry. I don't think he ever had a really. You never fought for it.
That's not true. Oh no, God no. I've that's the story of my life. I don't. It's not getting a girl isn't easy for me. In fact, as I've gotten older, it's become harder. Mainly because I think women are at least today's women, I feel like they're just super materialistic. And so if you're not driving the nice car or live in the nice big house or have a boat, they seem to be less interested. But no, I mean, I've definitely had my share of like crazy stories. I've driven not 5 hours. I've driven 3 hours to see a girl. And like had a couple no-shows, that kind of thing. But I always feel like when stuff like that happens, the old saying, when life throws you lemons, you make lemonade. So what do you do when she doesn't show up? You go to the strip club, Dougie.
Yeah, that's right. You call a professional. Speaking of my buddy Rick, that was his plan back in the day. When you can't listen, if we can't find one, we're going to hire one. And that's the way it goes. Well, that's all we have time for here on the Wake Up Late with Dougie show. I want to thank my guest today, Grant Lyon, and, of course, Ahmed Ahmed, who, by the way, is coming to Florida in March for a bunch of shows. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, we're working together at Off the Hook and Tin Roof and Miami Improv, March 22, 23, 24.
That's right. And anything else coming up in the meantime? I know you got some great shows coming up at the Venice Compound.
Yeah, we're trying to reboot that. We were shut down because of lockdown for almost 3 months, so we're just trying to revive that. And
you guys had some great people on that show. That's a who's who of comedy.
Yeah, it's getting there. It's getting there. I mean, it's a very kind of controlled environment. We have to be done by a certain time, so there's not a lot of room. There's not a lot of, flexibility right now, but we're building. We'll see what happens.
Very good. Grant, what's coming up for you, my friend? Grant, what's coming up with you?
Oh, well, I just had a board game come out a couple of months ago. It's in stores and stuff. It's it's called Curmudgeon, so that's kind of fun. I had an album come out in 2020 called Scheduled Fun Time. My first major album. So
nice.
Yeah,
nice.
Check that out.
And that's
Thank
awesome.
you.
And you created a game. That's a board game.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yep,
as shit.
I know. It's kind of cool. On
How
the
do
shelves
you-
of stores.
How do you do you publish that? Do you get it? Like, how do you sell a board game? I've never even heard of that.
Yeah, I mean, I love board games, and so I developed it actually with playtesting with a bunch of comics in LA, and then I went to some of these game conventions and pitched it to a lot of game companies, and ended up getting a publisher. So
Sweet,
sort of like,
congrats,
like
man.
a book, but it's a game publisher. Thank you.
Interesting.
I appreciate it.
I mean, it's no electric car.
It's kind of like a. Yeah.
Go ahead, good.
I think comics actually will really enjoy it though, because it's kind of like Mad Libs for roast jokes, just like funny, silly roast jokes.
Oh, that's awesome. So what's it called again?
Sweet.
People should check it out.
Curmudgeon?
It's called Curmudgeon.
Curmudgeon. Nice.
Like curmudgeon at large. Well, you guys, thanks so much for joining me today on the show. Like I said, we got shows coming up in March. I'm going to be at the Dog House, the Dog Pound in Port Orange this Thursday night. And I'm going to be at the Monroe Strip Club on Sunday at the Red Light Comedy Show. Go to DougieAlmeida.com for more dates. But other than that, guys, thanks so much for being on the show. God bless. We'll be seeing you soon, Ahmed. And, of course, Grant,
Well,
good luck with the game. Hope that thing sells, and hope to see you coming down to Florida sometime soon. Now, back to the studio. Chris, we ready to wrap this thing up?
Gentlemen. Absolutely.
All right, fellas. All new show next week, guys. Join us on Tuesdays, 8 p.m. live right here. Thanks for joining us. Take care.
Have a good one.
Thanks, guys.
Wake up! I'm not psycho. Wake up. Wake up.